Thank you very much, Sister Amatullah, for that generous introduction. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I'm a witness that there is no God but Allah, and I'm a witness that Muhammad is his servant and messenger and seal of the prophets. As Sister Amatullah pointed out, I am standing in for the mayor today, who could not be with you. He regrets that. He had a ground opening for a new business that's opening in Hazel Crest. And as Sister Amatullah pointed out, wanted to make sure that there was someone here to speak to you in his stead. Sister Amatullah told me that I had 20 minutes. I don't think it's going to take 20 minutes, but I might get close to it. I don't know. Who knows what may happen. So, Brother Wallace, to you, to your family, to those who support you in helping to keep the legacy of our leader alive, thank you for your service. And as Imam Ali mentioned, we should reverence the wombs that bore you, and I am from that womb. In trying to, in giving some thought to what I should say to you all today, for those of you who engage in public speaking, it's not always an easy task. So I was having a conversation with my wife this morning and over the last several nights about what I should say to you. And I finally concluded that it would be best for me if I were to talk to you about my own personal experience and how that experience is relevant to all of us if we hold true to the leadership that we have been so blessed to receive. I also understand that this is a time to reflect on where we've been, and also a time to have discussions about where we should be going as a community. So I want to say to you today that, we have to hold on to the life that Allah has blessed us with. And I can't say enough about my own personal blessing. I am a poor boy from Chattanooga, Tennessee, who came to Chicago in 1975 with no expectations except to attend college and to get an education. And I'm actually the first of my family to receive a college education. That's both a good and a bad thing, because there are people in this society that have generations of education, but nevertheless it's a blessing for me. Let me tell you a little bit about what attracted me to Mayor Donaldson. And all of what I'm about to say can't be published in the Muslim Journal. When I first met Mayor Donaldson, after moving to Hazel Crest, Illinois. By the way, Hazel Crest is a community of about 14,000 citizens just south of where we are today, just a little south and a little east of where we are today. With a population of about 14,000 citizens and a geography of about 14,000 square miles. It is essentially a residential community with about 80% of our population living in single-family dwellings, another 10% or so in apartments, and then there's a smaller group of people in other dwellings. When I met Mayor Donaldson, after getting to know him, he said to me, he said, "Rod, explain to me a little bit more about your community," which I did. I told him about our leader, which he got very close to, and at some points they used to have breakfast together, and they enjoyed each other's company. Mayor Donaldson said to me, he said, "Rod, you know what?" He said, "There's a community right next door to Hazel Crest called East Hazel Crest. And that community only has about 1,400 citizens." He said, "You can move about 10 or 12 families from your community into East Hazel Crest, and your community could have your own Muslim community." He didn't have to say that to me. These are the kinds of things that politicians don't say. However, he felt close enough to me to say that, and I have quietly been advocating that because I know that we're looking for a place to be. It was Imam Mohammed that instructed us to move to the south suburbs of Chicago. And I took up that challenge, and a number of other of us took up that challenge. And for those of you who are in this area, East Hazel Crest is just a short drive away. 1,400 citizens, 10 or 12 families. We can have our own town if we want to. I don't want that published in the Muslim Journal because the politics of that situation is not advantageous to me saying that, but I'm saying that to my family. Let me speak a little bit about the influence of our leader Imam Mohammed on my life and circumstances. There are three events that I want to mention. During the re-election of John Strozier, for those of you who are in the Chicago area, John Strozier was the president of the Cook County Board here in the Chicago area, one of the largest counties in the country. John Strozier was also the president of the National Association of County Executives. I happened to be assigned as a officer of my union to work on John Strozier's campaign. And part of our strategy was to, during the early voting period here in Illinois, to gather about 35,000 votes, early votes, so that when the general election took place, President Strozier would be secure with a win. Now, many of you who are from out of town wouldn't know this, but John Strozier was a very big advocate of public health services for the poor. We have a hospital in Cook County named for him, John Strozier Hospital. And after engaging in that campaign, part of my role was to meet with the so-called mega churches in the south suburban areas and to ask them to use their resources, their vans, their Sunday sermons, etc., to gather their people during the early voting period and take them to the polls to secure this 35,000 votes. Well, we were successful at doing that. And so at the wrap-up of that session, I happened to be at a meeting to discuss the finality of what we had just done at a church. Some of you may know Bishop Brazier, who was one of those mega church leaders who passed away recently, rest his soul. So I was in a meeting and I happened to be on the dais, and I saw a brother walk in from my community into that meeting. And shortly after he walked in, Imam Mohammed walked in. And needless to say, I was happy to see him. And the first thing he did was he came to the dais and he said to me, "I'm so happy to see you there." Now, he wouldn't know what that meant to me. I don't think he would know what that meant to me, but he was encouraging me, and I appreciated that. So we were successful, and John Strozier went on to win that election by about 35,000 votes. A second incident, and I'm saying this to say that we have to hold true to who we are. People need to know that we're Muslims and that we don't back down from being Muslims and that we hold true to our values. As the Imam Kareem said yesterday, we have to be patient because patience will pay off. So we'll talk a little bit about that later. As Sister Amatullah also mentioned, I've been appointed to the State Board of Investment by the governor of the state of Illinois. This particular fund has participants from the General Assembly, all state employees, and all judges in the state of Illinois. It's a $10 billion fund. And our responsibility is to invest that money wisely so that state employees will be secure in their pensions once they reach retirement age. Recently, we received we had an election for a new chair of that board, and he